Caleb, you got a haircut.
He's a guy.
You look good.
He's a guy now.
Hey guys, like I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we have a guest Scoutmaster minute tonight, and so I want you to give your full attention to Dr. Lockard. He's going to share a Scoutmaster minute.
You know, I'm really kind of sad when I see all you guys here. Because not everybody can be a scout at 168. Think of all those poor guys that can't be in this troop. This is absolutely the greatest troop in Oklahoma, no doubt about it, maybe in the United States. You guys, and do a lot to Alan, wherever Alan is, to carry it on for 14 years. Oh, man. I am so excited. When he called and asked me to come tonight, I said, yes. My wife said, what are you doing? I said, I get to go to a scout meeting again. That was absolutely one of the best times of my life. And when I took over the troop, there was 72 boys. The Scoutmaster, he was all by himself. And I wanted to get my son in Scouts. And he said, well, only if you'll be Assistant Scoutmaster. And I said, well, okay, I was a scout, but he said, I'll teach you all how we do that. So he taught me that, and he stayed around for 3 or 4 months, and then he left. So that was the beginning of getting, I said, I got the patrols together, and I said, all right, you guys, each of your patrol needs a patrol dad. And so we got the dads together. And after that, there was a lot of boys that wanted to be in our troop. And when they would come, I'd say, where's your dad? They said, well, he dropped me off. I said, well, we'd love to have you, but you can't be a member of this troop without your dad joining also. So I talked to the dads, and they said, well, I don't know. Look, you don't have to come to every meeting, but you've got to be available to go on the campouts or to drive on the campouts and to help out in that way. And so they did. The only problem with that was that after a while we had so many dads on campouts, we didn't have time for the boys. So we would have 12 or 13 dads on the campout. So what happened was, how many, again, raise your hand please, that are tenderfoot. Okay. When are you going to be a second class?
Me?
Yeah. Are you a tenderfoot? No, you're not a tenderfoot. Who was tenderfoot? When are you going to be a second class?
I have female requirements.
Are you working on each one?
Yep.
Who else is tenderfoot? What's your schedule?
I am working on it in my free time at school. Sometimes we get a load of homework.
Okay. Good for you. And you?
I'm my board of review in the Scoutmaster office.
All right. Set it up. You know, one of the things that scouting teaches, well, let me just tell you a story. There was a young boy who went to this troop, and he became an Eagle Scout. And he was patrol leader, and he was senior patrol leader, and he was an Eagle Scout. And he joined this company, and they said, look, this is privately owned by our family, and we don't want somebody, I know you married the granddaughter, but you know, we don't want to have outhouse people here. He said, I'll do anything you say. I'll work in the storeroom. I'll deliver. I'll do whatever. So we did. And after about 3 years of that, for some reason or other, they fired the president of the company. And they called him up and they said, we need to have you come to the next board meeting. He said, okay, what about? He said, well, we want you to be the next president. He said, whoa. So he came to me because I was his scoutmaster. And he said, what do you think? And I said, well, what are you going to do? He says, well, I have a vision for that company. And I said, well, write it out. I said, what's the purpose of the company? He said, the purpose is, and he wrote it out. What's your philosophy? How are you going to treat people? How are you going to make it work? How are you going to develop leaders? How are you going to... So he wrote it all out. What are your goals? He wrote them all out. He gave it to me. He said, what do you think? Because I used to teach that. I'm a retired dentist, and I was on the lecture circuit for 20-some years, and that's what I would teach dentists to do and how they organize their office. And I guess, this happens to be my son, and I guess he heard me enough times preparing talks. And so he wrote it, and he gave it to me, and he said, what do you think? And I said, I wouldn't add a thing. He took it to the board meeting, and he said, let me have each of you take one of these home and read it. And let's come back tomorrow, and if you still want me to be president, then that's how I will run the company. He didn't ask them how they wanted him to do it. He had a vision, like you have a vision. When I asked, why are you a scout? Why are you a scout? Yeah. For what? Help the community. Okay. Why are you a scout? Yeah? To better yourself. You've got a purpose. You've got a vision. Can you see yourself as an eagle? You know, that's one of the things that I think is so vitally important, is that you can actually see yourself as the person you want to become. As an Eagle Scout or not, or a Life Scout, whatever you want to become, if you can see yourself so vividly, like it's in a paradigm of holy, and suddenly you can believe that you can be that person, and you start acting like it, you dress like it, you talk like it, you do like that person would do, you become that person. Because what we think about every day, the most that we think about it, we become. And you know what that is? That inside there's what we call a subconscious. And when we think about those, we put those positive thoughts, that enthusiasm and that commitment to become, it goes into that subconscious. And when you sleep, when you're not even thinking about it, it helps you make the choices and take the actions that will help you get there. And I know that you believe in God because that's what you say every time. And so I think that that little quiet voice that you hear in your ear that tells you what is the right thing to do might just be the Holy Spirit saying to you, this is what you do to become the person, the God-fearing person that you want to become. So think about the positive things. People who are positive think about what they're going to do and become, and they don't worry about negative stuff. You know, don't think about that. People that think about all the negative stuff and who's to blame, they end up not doing quite as well as they're going to do. Well, you guys have a great opportunity with this truth. You've got great leaders who are Lives and Eagles and adults. You have a wonderful opportunity to become leaders in the community and do things for other people. Because when we use our God-given spiritual gifts to become the best we can become to help another person, another community, then I think we are living God's purpose for us. Although He hasn't told us what it is, it's up to us to discover it. So when you think positively about helping others, you can become that person. all power to you. If there's anything I can do, call me.
All right.
Have a good night.